Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Come to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for February 27th, 2022, with your host, Peacemaker2448 and Rampant Epsilon.
Hello.
It's Kuuga this week with the debut of our good friend Gorham, that I forget talks.
Yeah.
I forget that A, it talks, and B, it does that a few times. Yeah, it's 13 through 16 this week, the last of our first arc of the show. How does it feel to be done with the first third of the show, technically?
I don't know how to feel on it. In all seriousness, because it almost doesn't really feel like... It almost doesn't really feel like it's that far in.
Not particularly. It also doesn't help that after our clip show next week, which, by the way, our first episode for next week is a clip show, so we're technically looking at 3 episodes next week because we're not dealing with a clip show. I forgot we immediately go into what's next, and I'm like, I thought that was later. I was like, I must be remembering something else, because I'm like, this should be later. Oh, damn. But yeah, any other particular thoughts before we hit our episodes?
Nah.
Alright then, we shall kick off our look with episode 13, Suspicion. So, we follow up with Satari. She's finishing up work on her thesis, because, by the way, she has other work besides translating random Linto text, because it's actually Linto text, they specified this time. But, Jean apparently has discovered a multitude of pieces related to the fragment Mika's father had, and he has sent over pictures for her to attempt to translate. We then check in with Anna as she's getting some cookies taste tested by Kazari, because she wants to give him the Godai, because she is Godai fanboy. And Godai, as soon as he's at him, he's just like, can I share this with a friend? And she's like, no. But we also get in a briefing following Ichijo that they have condensed the gas into bullets. Specifically, plastic bullets that look very metallic. These are some real metal-looking plastic bullets. I don't know why they needed to say they were plastic. Because wouldn't that not help?
I would think.
But they condensed it into those bullets, so that way they can get the gas into the Grongi, and it will presumably incapacitate them, so they can arrest the Grongi to attempt to interrogate them. That will probably go well whenever they get to do that. I'm pretty sure they never get the chance to do that. But we do see that another Grongi is starting their game. They are Shark Grongi. But before we see them in action, we check on Saratari real quick. She's catching up Godai on the translations that she's working on. Nothing new, but Ichijin drops by to go, hey, can you help with the task force since you know the language stuff, and that would be nice to help. I do like that Godai tries to bail her out. To be like, oh, no, she's busy with her, with her thesis. Like, she doesn't need that much more on top of her because I think doesn't the episode start with a time lapse of her coffee cup just disappearing over a few hours?
Don't remember right offhand.
Okay, it was one of these episodes where it starts at one time and then it fast forwards a few hours, and then you just see the coffee cup, just this coffee mug on her coffee machine just empty, along with her several bottles empty of. I don't want to call it 5-hour energy drinks because that's not what it is, but I think it's the closest thing to what those are. Because I'm pretty sure I've seen commercials in Rider when I'm watching Rider Raw for that exact thing, and I'm pretty sure those are energy drinks.
I mean, I would assume so.
Yeah. But she does accept anyway, so she's on the task force. Kind of. I don't think she's ever officially a part of it. She says, hey, we need language help. Pass it to her. But this is when we check in with our Shark Grongi. He just wipes out an entire boat of people, bites them all, kills them all, throws some of them overboard, which I guess he goes and cleans up later. Since I would think your first instinct if Thing is coming after you on boat is get the fuck off the boat and go to shore. Because they all huddle at the top of this boat like, guys, you're not out in open water. You're in this river. Jump the boat and get to shore. Maybe he won't follow you. But we see some random guy is watching all of this, and when a cop drops by after the Grongi has left the boat a bloody mess, he questions the guy. He doesn't really answer. He has a tattoo like the Grongi, so he gets brought in for questioning by the cops. Ichio gets called about this, and we see him in interrogation with... This is what happens when I don't have their names in the notes. I forget their names. Other cop man. Oh no.
That's not boding well at all.
No. No. You are a boss cop man. Sugita! Look, I have to refer to the writer wiki when I'm doing up notes because I'm like, fuck, there's so many side characters in this show and I cannot remember all their names. Because we bounce around them so often, I'm just like, fuck. Besides, like, Ichijo, Sawatari, Kazari, and, like, Minori and Nana at this point, like, I'm like, wait, what was your name again? It also doesn't help that on the writer wiki, they're all just listed in a straight line with, like, nothing distinguishing them. Because, you know, none of them are writers. I'm like, could you at least group them by what they are, please? So that I at least have them by association. But yeah, they bring him in for interrogation. He's pretty much stonewalls him. It's like, well, I could be a Gronki. I could just be, you know, not this person you say I am because you found my driver's license. I could be that person in the sky. A Gronki of that person in disguise. And I could be here to murder you all. Sir, no. Sir, if you wanted to murder anyone in this fucking building, you would have fucking done so already.
Right.
You are not fooling anyone involved in this. But that's when Ichijo calls Godai, just be like, hey, can you drop by and help us deal with this guy? And that's when Tsubaki also gets called, because he has to go examine this guy. And, when they examine him, oh, look, he's just perfectly human. There's nothing special about him, except he has mystery illness that is very serious and life-threatening to some degree. They don't specify. It's one of those times where I'm like, this is really serious, but we won't tell you to what degree or what exactly it is. I'm also not sure what they were looking at when they discovered this. Because they were looking at CRT scans, right?
I believe so.
Right, but I'm like, I don't know where in the body you're looking. Like, was it in the chest? Because I don't think it was the head.
I mean, it could have been the head.
Probably. But yeah, apparently it's serious. So like, Tsubaki's like gonna run some tests on this guy, because apparently the symptoms line up, whatever the symptoms are. Because again, they are super vague on this.
I mean, it's plot symptom.
Yeah, it is question disease that is serious. But this is when we check in with the Groggy real quick. He tries to attack a boat and actually capsizes it and like throws 3 fishermen overboard and tries to go after them, but then a nearby worker like cuts his hand, like arm really bad on this like not rebar, like these metal beams he's working on. And the blood gets in the water, and he goes, fresh blood! Mine! Like, okay, I get it is needed for, like, the plot of the episodes. That guy's going nowhere. Why didn't you kill the other 3 first? You could have just killed them first and then went to get food source.
I mean, we gotta have some reason. Everyone knows.
Right. So he goes and attacks all the construction workers. This is where Tsubaki reveals the seriousness of this man's illness of some form. Again, not specific on it. Very vague. But that's when Ichigo gets told Groggy's about, so him and Godai deploy. We do check in with Saratari real quick, because Jean and Mika have discovered a very large green gem in some sort of stone housing that is similar to a lot of the stuff they've been finding, and it's super important and weird, so we're gonna need help with translations. But that is when we get to the fight. Godai fights the Gronki, but as soon as he starts fighting, he starts seeing visions of a very large beetle, which puts him on the back foot for the fight as we end the episode. I don't know why, but it takes us, this entire thing with Gorham is 4 episodes. I don't know why Gorham is 4 episodes.
Reasons.
But that takes us to episode 14, Omen. So Godai goes Titan when the Groggy starts biting him because, I have a tank form with armor. I will just go that and he will stop biting me. Except he starts biting me on the unarmored parts of the body. Oh no, he's still biting me and it's very painful. But that lets Ichigo get a shot in with the new bullet, and it sends the Groggy packing because, oh no, I'm in pain. I'm in a lot of pain. Oh god. What did you shoot me with? And that's when Godai gets taken to Tsubaki to get checked up, and they do the whole bit where Tsubaki's like, I want to take you apart on an autopsy table because you are very interesting, and Godai's like, sir, please no. Sir, please stop. I don't know if it's a bit the two of them just want to do now, or if Tsubaki's actually serious and Godai's like, please stop.
I feel like
I
probably
don't
the
know.
latter.
Yeah. But he also wants to check in the guy from earlier, just try to give him a pep talk. That's when we go over to Nana as she's once more getting things tasted by Kazari. This time it's donuts, and then Kazari's like, "Oh no, these taste terrible." And she's like, "Well, fine, you have them." And then he takes it and then licks all of them, like, "Mine. These are my donuts now. You can't have them." And she's all sad and disappointed about it. That's when Jean calls Sartari once more to go, "By the way, new developments. All the things started moving, and now they're in the shape of a beetle. Help?" I do like her running gag of, "Is it a bear this time? Did you run into a bear?" I would hope he hasn't run into a bear. That would be frightening. Like, you don't want to fuck with a bear. A bear will kill you outright.
I mean, and the Grongi won't.
I mean, true. But at this point, Tsubaki's doing an autopsy on the worker who got his arm cut. That's when we find out, oh, Kananu's arm wasn't done by the Grongi, plus the eyewitness report from the fisherman. Oh, the Grongi is a shark because blood in water attracts him, so plan! We also see he is still in pain from the bullet. Not enough to, knock him off his feet, but pain nonetheless. Also, one of the Grongi decides, I'm going to find the most inconvenient way to murder someone. And starts learning to drive backwards. Not forwards, backwards. In a car that tells you it is moving backwards. This is going to be important for the next 2 episodes. It's going to be incredibly dumb as well.
Also, it's at some point he does learn to drive forward.
Yeah. But he starts backwards.
Yes. Yes.
This is when we check in with Godai. He tries talking to the guy after he wakes up, tries to give him a pep talk, but it's like, I'm not sure what this guy deal is, because I don't want to say what I'm thinking, because I'm like, okay, I don't think it's that far, but like, the guy doesn't have the best outlook on life at the moment. And for some reason, that's got him idolizing the Grongi, because something? I feel like I have missed something in this, and I'm not sure what.
Something, definitely.
Yeah. But he's not having Godai's pep talk. But Tsubaki does give him the more direct approach of showing him the corpse of the worker and being like, look, this is what death looks like. This is what the Grongi do. Maybe don't. And the guy does like almost throw up in this autopsy room where it's got at least 6 inches of water in it in places. Is that a thing? I'm pretty sure that's unsanitary.
And I'm pretty sure that's...
Yeah, that feels like a terrible thing to work in. You always are coming out of an autopsy with soggy shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like it's deep enough that like the like any like the rubber of a shoe, it's deep enough to be over that. So it is getting into the shoe and making the shoe soggy. But anyway. This seems to shock him a bit, and then he leaves. We then check in with Jean as all the artifacts are being packed up so they can be shipped out to Tokyo, so they can be looked at. He does accompany a cop along the way. And then we check in with Ichijo and Godai. They're baiting the Gronki with fake blood. Which the plan is, Ichijo's going to drive a boat down the river, spilling this synthetic blood in the water to attract the Gronki. While Godai drives along the bank and hops on the boat when the Gronki shows up. And Ichijo has a rifle with a scope as the weapon on him to defend himself until Godai can get on the boat. Did they not make bullets that would go in something that would be better useful in close quarters?
No, they didn't.
Ichijo, you are in close quarters. Maybe you should have those bullets in a pistol.
But it took them this many episodes to get it into just a bullet. Now you expect them to get it into a smaller bullet? That'll take the rest of the season.
Fair. But yeah, it goes about as well as you expect. Ichijo gets jumped. Godai has to come in and save him. All three of them get flung overboard. But as this happens, we check in with Jean and the cop and the escort, and they make a pit stop along the way. And when they come back, the truck is shaking. And then we see beetle-shaped thing rise from the back of the truck and then fly off. And then we see that most of the back of this truck is gone. So that happened. But back in the fight, the Gronki tries to go after the guy because he kind of stumbles upon the scene. Gronki tries to eat him, but Godai saves him, takes out the Gronki. Guy sees that Godai is, Kuuga, and then he just kind of leaves. And that's the end of the 2 episodes. So how'd you feel about this pair?
I feel like this gets back to that whole, sometimes we shouldn't do 2-parters.
Yeah, this feels like it'd be better off as a one and done.
Yeah.
Because our side character of the week doesn't get a lot of focus. He's just kind of here, and we don't really do anything with him. Although, weirdly, I think he shows up later in the show.
Kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah, he shows up in a later pair of episodes, I think, and I'm like, I guess they're playing the long game with him or something. I don't know.
That's really
Uh-huh. So yeah, it's kind of this. It's not the greatest 2 episodes, if I'm being honest. They're fine, but we've had better episodes of Kuuga so far.
Yes, we have.
So, any other thoughts before we hit our second half then?
No.
All right, then. We kick off episode 15, Armor. So, the police are now trying to track down the beetle because it has now been cited several times over and has committed property damage because it has landed on things, ate them, essentially, because it seems to be fusing material into itself, and then it leaves. This is why Nikita has also been called in for assistance because she is science person. This is a science problem. We require science.
We need science person to come do sciencing.
Which the most she's able to do is just go, it can absorb things, I guess? That's a thing I guess it can do? I don't know.
It's doing a multiple thing, not a singular thing, a multiple thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of the short long of it. We also see at this point that Ichigo has something planned for the next day, but we don't quite get into it just yet. So we check in with Godai, who's talking to Kazari. He finds out that Nana is also in town to do auditions for acting because she wants to be an actress, and that's when Satari calls in with an update on the fragments. So he heads over to hers. That's when we get the briefing where we find out that the thing is flying towards Tokyo and it's changing colors because it keeps absorbing new material and stuff. And the police consider it a threat because it has committed property damage. It hasn't murdered anybody yet, but it has done enough property damage to be like, we're gonna shoot you when we get the chance.
Because that's the answer to everything so far, and it's worked extremely well.
Yep. This is where we also see Ichigo call someone. They don't specify who, canceling some plans for the next day because, current events. And that one female cop that I have yet to write down the name for because I honestly don't know if she's been named. I think she has, I just keep forgetting. Nozomi. Thank you, Writer Wiki, as I desperately open up tabs, be like, which one of you is it? But she sees this. We do then check in with Saratari and Godai. We get a partial translation of what is on these fragments and stuff, and Godai tells her about his visions. And between these two things, they figure out that the thing is horse armor. That's it. It's a thing. It's a familiar that turns into horse armor. That's the most they can do. Meanwhile, Ichigo, after mapping out all of the sightings, figures out, oh, it's going towards Godai. That's probably not good. I maybe should call him about this.
Except for he doesn't.
Yeah, because he gets interrupted by Nozomi trying to give him a present because it's his birthday, but he declines because he doesn't accept presents on his birthday for reasons that are not specified by him at the current moment. But a Grongi attack is called in because this Grongi has decided it's going to attack people by backing up into them with this large truck he has stolen and killing them and then running their bodies over several times over. This has to be the most impractical means any of them have attempted to try to kill someone at this point. Because how many times is he going to pull this off? It can't be that many, right? He can't have promised that many.
Maybe?
Because it's specifically backwards. He is not running over things forwards. He is running over things backwards. Which makes it even, like, a little bit more impractical because he is driving this very large, like, four-wheel, like delivery truck, more or less. So, like, But we get a crime scene explaining this. We didn't check in with Kita, as she tells Nozomi that Ichigo's dad died on his birthday early in his life, and like him, was a cop, and that's why Ichijo is a cop, and that's why he doesn't really celebrate his birthday. He normally just kind of goes home, spend some time with his mom. Maybe they go out to dinner. It's kind of it. It's not really the best day for him, so he tends to not celebrate it, which, fair enough. But because of all the stuff with the Grongi, it's now on the back burner. That's when Godai drops by to the crime scene that Ichijo's at, tells him more or less what the beetle's for, and Ichijo's like, I don't know if we should trust this thing. It has committed property damage. Which, I don't know if it understands what it's doing. Because, like, they specify that it landed on a water tank and damaged it. And, like, that damaged, like, a nearby neighborhood. And we see later on, it like, takes the crane off this crane. Like, the crane part of it. Like, it absorbs that.
I get the feeling it just doesn't know what it's doing.
Which, fair, it's been asleep for a few thousand years or so. I'm sure it doesn't understand what big metal thing is and how important it is. It's like, oh, I need this to reconstruct myself. I'm just gonna go absorb it. That's fine, right? But they soon get an update on the Grongi and the location, so they head out. We check in with Ichijo's mom, who's a nurse at a local hospital, and we see her collapse at work, and she ends up having to be looked after by hospital staff. It's not as big of a deal, that big of a deal, to be honest, so that's why I kind of ignored it the first time when we get introduced to her. But back over with Godai. He tries chasing down the Grongi, but then the beetle flies in and then fuses with the bike, and thus creates Trigorum. And it can talk, because it's like, let's go! How do you feel about this being the gimmick of Kuuga's bike, essentially?
I don't really know how to feel.
It's not the most impressive thing we've ever seen for a biking rider.
I mean, not really, no.
But yeah, it fuses with that, and then Godai and the truck almost collide, because the truck goes backwards and Godai goes forwards, and they almost collide, and that ends the episode. So we go to episode 16, Creed. Ichijo shows up just in time to see, Godai avoid the collision, and then kind of slide down an alleyway, only for the Trigorum to lose power and stall out. And Godai like has to bail and just leave the bike to get smushed into this like electrical like gas storage area. So he ends up finding the Grongi on foot, and then he knocks him into the truck. Because it backed up into all this and kind of stayed there. And between the gas cans and the electrical wires that got knocked over, everything explodes! And the Grongi is presumed dead. Spoilers, he's alive in like 5 minutes. But the bike does survive without a scratch. Somehow. Even though part of it is not covered by the Gorum. I guess it has a shield. I guess. But Ichijo tells Godai to take it to Kita's lab for analysis, and they will do that. He does get called about his mom's collapse, and they do linger on him when he hears about this, and you can definitely see that he is, worried and concerned, but he then swaps into, cop mode and, like, prioritizes stuff because there's more important things going on. He has to deal with it when he can. He's got to worry about the Grongi at the moment because there's no guarantee it's dead. Because I'm sure even he's like, it might still be alive. I didn't see it explode, so. But we do see later on that Akita cheers up the female officer because it's like, oh, you know, not hitting off the best with each show, but you'll find someone. After the bike gets taken to the lab, Godai sticks around with it as Ankita and her team hook it up to some cables and stuff to start analyzing it. And Saratari does inform Jean that, hey, by the way, those fragments, they kind of formed a beetle and they kind of flew off, so don't worry, you didn't lose them. They kind of decided just to leave on their own, I guess. I do like that he feels bad because he doesn't want to tell Mika that he lost them. Which, I don't think you lost them, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, them gaining sentience and leaving on their own, I don't think is deemed lost them, but...
I'm pretty sure she would be more shocked of, wait, they did what now? I mean, they did form a beetle, like vaguely form a beetle shape, but they were so fragmented in their possession. So him telling her they fully formed a beetle and then they flew off in a direction, I'm pretty sure she'll just be like, okay. That's new. But back over to the lab, we find out that the bike has been modified in this fusion to like accommodate the Gorham armor bits. Also, when Godai touches it, it reacts more. Like the little like life signs and stuff kind of like beat higher when Godai puts his hand on it because
you measure life signs of a bike.
I guess. It seems to have a heartbeat. Because I'm pretty sure that one machine they were running was checking a heartbeat. But also, we check in with Minori real quick because she drops by Pol and she has to go help because no one's there to help. We also see the cops find out, oh no, the Grongi survived because he escaped down the manhole cover and then he popped up somewhere else in town and stole another truck. We check in with Ichigo real quick. He briefs his boss on the current developments, but there's still hesitation about trusting Godai because they still consider him and the Grongi one and the same. So, still hesitant about trusting him. Godai then finds out that the Gronki's still alive, and then the bike blows off all the cables and stuff and damages the equipment so it can, like, go and, like, comes back to life. So Godai just rides off with it, and I do like that Nikita's like, you damaged my expensive equipment, which I'm pretty sure the police station will pay for that. I'm pretty sure somebody will pay for that. But they intercept the truck. They get it stalled out, and then Godai gets the brilliant idea of ram it. So they ram the truck. They knock it down the road. It gets the sigil on it. It gets to the Gronki. It all goes kaboom. So Gronki is dead for real this time. Except the Gorham falls to pieces after that because reasons we'll get to later. Surprisingly enough, that is something that will be explained eventually. But Godai nudges Ichigo to go call his mom, and he calls her. She's already out of bed and recovered, and they talk for a little bit, and we end the episode there. So, how'd you feel about the Gorham's proper introduction into the series as like the last current bit of Godai's arsenal?
I don't know, actually.
It's
kind of just meh kind of deal.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else I can compare it to.
And I don't really see a big reason why we needed it.
Yeah. It's like, it will get to do more later, but this is not the good introduction for giant beetle thing that seems to be here for a finisher for the bike, and that's kind of it. And like, why would we need this? I get toy sales, but still.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't think we've ever gotten something like this again in Rider. I think the closest thing I can think of is like, there's a thing in Kiva that I think is similar to this, but the bike is so underutilized at that point in Rider anyway, it gets so it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's our 4 episodes. That's our first arc. We're moving on into the second part of the show next week. Fortunately, we have a clip show to skip.
Yeah, unfortunately.
We do get a Grongi fight in that, but otherwise it's a clip show. But that'll be next week. Between now and then, Wednesday, we continue Metroid Prime 2. Thursday, I continue Pokemon Legends Arceus. Saturday, we do some of the Rocket League. And then Sunday is more Kuuga. So if you like what you're seeing, folks, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Chipping away at that Vilico at TG's on Twitter because you updates on live. Next base point, Discord chat. It's this link. Drop by, say hi. See you Wednesday, folks.